Good evening and welcome to the December 16th Ashland Board of Health meeting, and I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. And the first thing on the agenda is citizens' participation. Do we have any citizens to participate?
And I've spoken before the board in the past. Hi, I'm Cece Doucette, 31 Fatima Drive, and I've spoken before this board in the past regarding the biological effects of today's wireless technology. There are a couple of important updates I wanted to give you tonight. The first is that the FCC and the telecom industry are fast-tracking measures at the federal level. The FCC has an open docket, and I'm going to leave you with some materials asking that you put information into the public record as organizations and municipalities across the country are doing. Otherwise, if they have their way and if industry has their way with the bills that are being fast-tracked through Congress, they will strip all local control from Ashland. We now have a 500-foot setback in our zoning code saying you can't put a cell tower within 500 feet of our houses or near our schools. And if these laws get passed and if the FCC docket comes forward, then we will lose all control. We won't be able to say there's no gap in coverage. Anything that we have put in our provisions will be taken away from us. So Children's Health Defense and others have put together a letter that you can review and decide if it's to your liking, and then please enter something this month into the public record with the FCC. The second item I would like to discuss is one I've mentioned previously, and that's out in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. Verizon put a cell tower on top of the Shacktown neighborhood, and it made 17 children and adults so sick that after investigating over the course of more than a year, their Board of Health determined, by talking to doctors, by talking to scientists, by doing a true investigation, even talking to industry, that their homes were no longer habitable. Some have already died. Others are suffering extensive harm because of that cell tower. They asked Verizon to come to the table. At the 11th hour, Verizon sued instead. They put an injunction against their Board of Health. The Board of Health went to their town and asked for the financial resources to take this to court to empower them to bring those families safely back into their homes. And their mayor and their city solicitor bullied their Board of Health and would not provide them with the funding to protect the citizens. What happens is the industry comes in and they say that, oh, the FCC preempts this, there's nothing you can do. What we now have a Supreme Judicial Court case in Massachusetts is saying that no, when there is a nuisance in the community, it is the legal and police duty of the Board of Health to protect those citizens and the environment and get rid of that nuisance. So there was a hearing on the 3rd of December, and they will review this case and hopefully report out next spring. What's pertinent to you especially is that the Massachusetts Association of Health Boards, through Cheryl Sabara, submitted an amicus brief on behalf of the citizens of Pittsfield because they too have done their due diligence and they know how harmful wireless radiation is. And they were there at the Supreme Judicial Court case, Mike, Hugo, and Cheryl. And we are hoping that we will be able to get some might behind what our boards of health are able to do. So please stay tuned to that. There is also this campaign called Light It Up for Local Control, because seriously, guys, if we don't start speaking up, there's no cavalry coming. They are going to start putting cell towers in your neighborhood and in mine at dangerously close ranges. In the science, they say they should be at least 500 meters or 1,640 feet from anybody. That's where the death curve and the neurotoxicity curve in the science starts to come down. Where children are concerned, they say a half a mile distance. And if we don't stop these measures in Congress and in the FCC, we will lose any rights that we have today to protect our communities from this rapid wireless infrastructure build-out. So I will leave you a couple of paper copies for the record, but I will also send it to you tomorrow, and reach out with questions. I can put you in touch with world-leading scientists and doctors. I can put you in touch with the attorneys who have been working on this. And just a fun fact, you may know that the very first Board of Health president in Massachusetts back in like 1799 was Paul Revere. And one of the attorneys on this case with the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court is Paul Revere III, the great-great-grandson of Paul Revere. So they stand very firm on what our boards of health should be able to do to protect our communities. So thank you for your time, and I really hope you will seriously talk about entering something into the public record, because if we don't speak up, there's no cavalry coming to protect Ashland. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cece. And thanks for dropping those off and keeping us updated. We'll look at them. Thank you. Okay, item 3 on the agenda, tobacco regulations violation hearing for Main Street Wine and Spirits. And Mr. Goldberg, you are Mr. Goldberg. Hi. Maybe first, Raj, you can just give us a background, and then we'll ask Mr. Goldberg to kind of speak to that.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, so as I've sent documents to the board, this was October 17th, 2025. We have a CL2 minor violation at the Main Street Wine and Spirits. This is the first violation in 3 years from the time we have adopted the new regulation or the state mandated regulation we have currently, right? Their last violation was in 2020, that was in November with the previous regulation. So this is their first one within that 3-year time period. There was issued a citation of $1,000 according to the regulation, and that is being paid since, And I'll give it to you, sir.
Okay. Yeah, please.
So if you don't mind, I just need these out just so you have them.
Sure.
5, so.
I can distribute it actually if you give it to me. Yep. Thank you.
Put down on paper some of the steps that I took after I was notified of this violation. And on the second page there, you'll see a lot of green, which I'm proud of. So well, first, let me start with saying I want to make clear that when I was informed that we sold a pack of cigarettes to a minor, I was quite distraught. I'm sure you can speak to that. And also deeply embarrassed. I am not offering an excuse. My employee made a mistake. Kind of made me wonder, how did I fail to recognize that maybe he would be weak or have a weak moment? Still going to try and figure that out. That's introspection. So it takes years to build a reputation, only moments to destroy it. And one such moment, my cashier let his guard down. Perhaps I didn't emphasize often enough or strongly enough the necessity of following through with the IDing process. I didn't fire him. He's a good, honest employee. And at that time, it only worked for me for a few months, maybe 3. But he does know where he stands. When I spoke with him, I was very firm, saying that another mistake will result in this termination. So all my employees must take an alcohol server training class, which translates well for tobacco. He did take this class. We had to take it in November, a bunch of us. And he passed. So I trust and I hope that he will not make this mistake again. And I hope the incident serves to drive home how important it is to do our part in supporting and abiding the tobacco regulations in town. I want you to know, excuse me, that I am serious about adhering to the tobacco regulations. And for over 15 years, and this plays into the second sheet here, I've employed the service of a program called the BARS program. They send secret shoppers into my store 1 to 2 times a month to test my cashiers for either alcohol, or tobacco. And so these shoppers are usually between 21 and 25 years old. They won't send an underage because this is a private group. The shopper will give the cashier a green card if they do their job. They give them a red card if they don't. This particular employee, and I made a couple of little lines there, has received 2 green cards and 0 red cards. It was just unfortunate that this particular time he didn't do his job. And since 2006, the farthest back that the records go, we have had an overall success rate of 94%. So this year, very well. And in fact, I don't know if you want to look at this or not, but this is since January 1st of 2021. I challenge you to find a red line there. So we're trying, and this time we failed. So in an attempt to limit the possibility of another violation, I decided to return to a policy that I had in place for about 4 years, card everyone, every time. I feel this is the best way to eliminate human error because, as I got it written down right here, my employees are human, and so they can make a mistake. So I tried to eliminate that, and we've gone back to card everyone, every time. So I've spoken with each and every one of my cashiers, again, to emphasize how important it is to follow the age verification process completely for both alcohol and tobacco. And I've urged them to call me to the front counter if they feel anxious about doing that or intimidated by any customer who's not cooperating. That's what I have to say about what happened, and I gave you guys a list of some of the steps I've taken, and I will answer any questions you have.
Thanks, Mr. Goldberg, and this is very helpful to have. I appreciate that. One thing I just want to ask, are you aware of the tiered system we have for penalty violations and how that works? Okay. Mm-hmm. You addressed all the questions I would have had. I don't know if, gentlemen, you...
I got one. So you mentioned abuse from the, from some of your customers when they get carded and they don't feel like they should be carded.
Yeah.
Like, how frequently does that happen? And I guess maybe if you could kind of characterize it a little bit better, is it like clearly old people who just didn't bring their identification or don't feel, or just feel put out by having to?
It's people who feel put out or entitled, might be a good buzzword to use. And that's pretty much it. And if they are older people, come on, look at me. And they get a little upset about that. And it would be verbal abuse in that, where they would engage in an argument. Thankfully, never physical abuse, but it would just be kind of argumentative and F-bombs on the way out the door. So now, since we went back to this policy for starting in November, but really strongly starting December 1st, I've been happily surprised at how many people, of course it's early, haven't really gotten too upset, and they're just kind of, oh, we're back to that again. Okay, here it is. So maybe that's a good thing that they kind of worked all that stuff out before, but at the time where I relaxed it back in, I think it was April, you know, there was like 5, 6 people in the store at the front counter, and this guy was just going off on the cashier. I had to get called up front, and you know, it was a customer who I've known for so many years, and he hasn't been in since. So that's why I relaxed it. But now we're back at it because I can't take the chance. It's too costly for me to have a cashier fail a sting.
Thanks.
You're very welcome.
Yep.
Any questions, Maurice? Rajay?
I just want to add on, sir, right, like, I mean, thank you for taking all these steps, you know. I know people, there was somebody who reached out to me, that has their license canceled by a different Board of Health, right, because they failed fourth time, you know, so. And these steps are put in by the state, you know, this is a state mandated regulation that came to us, right? Just because earlier, when the violations was 100, 200, 300, nobody used to care. You know, in this business, right, $100 is nothing, right, like kind of, you know.
Well,
So
I
that's why I guess the state went so stringent, you know, because they want to control it. And I know people who have got $5,000 fines or even suspension of the permit, you know, period, you know.
I
So
don't need that.
again, no, I mean, I'm just saying,
That's
right,
why-
like, we just want to make sure, you know.
No, I understand. You were very clear explaining that to me when you came in, and I
Right.
appreciate that.
And it's tough for me, trust me, to come up with $1,000 ticket. Last year, we have to give $2,000 also to one of our vendors here in Ashland, you know.
Yeah.
So it's definitely tough for us as well, but, you know.
I'm sure.
We have to follow the regulation.
Absolutely.
But thank you, you know.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay?
Yep,
Thank you, and good evening.
thanks.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. So this, I'm assuming you have had time to look at this list of approvals, right, for licenses and permits. So what we can do is go through this section by section, and I will ask if someone wants to make a motion for each section, and then I'm going to abstain from the vote for the animal permits because I have a permit that's on that list, but we can, well, actually we can't, so, yeah, I was gonna wait for Barbara, but maybe we just do all of them but the animal permit?
And that we're going to table it for next year?
Yeah,
I think I will need to abstain from one of the retail food permits.
okay, which? The all, okay, so retail, that's the first one, right? Okay,
Mr. Morris, are you in CVS in Ashland?
No, I just work for CVS Specialty.
Then I guess it should be fine, right? I mean, I'm not sure, you know, but yeah, I mean, that's fine. Then, in that case, then we will be left with.
Yeah, if we have to revisit one of them, we can
Yeah.
revisit two.
Okay.
That's easy. And
yeah,
still-
I mean, is there, because the next meeting is it January 6th?
Yep.
The only caveat is we have to release the permits, you know, before, you know, because,
Well, yeah, can we do all of them except for CVS
and
on
then your
that?
permit, you know.
Yeah,
and
so
then
maybe we just do it that way.
Right, and then
yeah.
we can let CVS know that's the case, you know, because we have to start releasing the permits, you know, we're sitting on the timeline, you know.
Okay, so here, let's do this. Can I have a motion to approve the 2026 retail food permits of all of the establishments on this list, on the agenda, with the exception of CVS Pharmacy number 1875?
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Hold on, need to just amend that. And this would be contingent or conditional on receiving the completed applications for each of these. So let me,
So moved.
okay, all right. Do you have a second? Okay, excellent. Discussion? No, can we vote on that? All in favor? Aye, that's 3. Okay, so that is good, so that was, we just need to revisit CVS. Okay, is there a motion to approve conditionally, providing that permits are, applications are filled out and submitted appropriately for approving food establishments on the list on the agenda?
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Okay, 3. Let's see here. Do I have a motion to approve pending completed applications, the tobacco licenses for establishments on our list on the agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Got that, Laura? Okay. Can I have a motion to approve pending completed applications of the permits for residential kitchens that are listed on our agenda?
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. It's 3. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the permits pending applications and other paperwork of septic and hauler permits for the organizations listed on our agenda?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Okay, next, can I get a motion to approve the septic installer permits pending applications for the organizations listed on our agenda?
So moved.
Okay, all right, all in favor? Aye? Okay, good. Now, we're gonna hold off on the animal permits. Is that all right? Or we can just do the minus, okay, let's do that so we can get everybody's permits. So can I get a motion to approve the animal and equine permits pending applications for all residents on the list on our agenda with the exception of Elizabeth and John Burns?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second? Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, and next is, can I get a motion to approve the external grease trap waivers pending applications for all of the organizations listed on our agenda?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Okay, that's it for that. All right, good, thanks. Okay, the next is your agenda, Raj, Health Director's agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, lot going on with our food establishments right now, right? We have a lot of change of ownership. We are dealing with at least 3 or possibly 4th establishment that changing owners. The first one is Pizza Mine. That's the former Pizza Mine, is named Killer Pizza now, right? It was in front of board last time, and Mr. Berman asked me to assist them, and I did had an inspection at the spot after the meeting. All is well with them, you know, they submitted everything to us by now, and they're going renovations, you know, hopefully soon they'll be able to open, you know, after passing inspections. The second one is Giovanni 67, formerly Murphy's. You know, we did had some challenges with them. We don't have an application yet from them. You know, they did some work that was possibly without permit, you know, and right now they have a kind of stop work order from us, the building department as well. You know, we did a joint inspection with myself, building commissioner, you know, plumbing inspector, gas inspector, right? They did some work without pulling any permit from them as well, you know. So we are dealing with that currently, you know, the 3 new owners of this place now, you know.
What was the work?
So, not my expertise, Mr. Chair, but they did remove all the equipment from the restaurant, you know, that involved some, you know, plumbing and gas work, you know, so, but.
So they're putting in new equipment?
Right, you know, and that they have not submitted any documentation, you know, that I did notice that there was a new walk-in cooler that was in the establishment when we went to do an inspection, you know, so. We are working with them, but again, this was a week and a half back when we had the joint inspection, but we have not heard from them or gotten any paperwork since, you know, till now, you know, so. We are working with them, again, La Papusa Loca, that's before it was 33 Diner. They are all set with us. They did apply for a permit. We are good with them, but they are waiting on some building inspection. You know, they was doing some work that was required by the building department. So that's what they are, you know. Once those inspections are completed, then they should be going. And the last one is Hanto. Hanto had some issues with the gas line. You know, there were some gas leaks, right? So couples of weeks back, right, they was almost closed for 10 days, you know. So I guess I have sent a note to the board on that, you know, that they was closed, but was not from health reasons, right? But some gas issues, and then the gas connection was cut by Eversource because of those leaks, you know. So, but they're all set now, and they've been operating, you know. With the Tier 3 housing training, this was my 6th session that I attended in New Bedford on December 10. So all these trainings that I'm doing is related to the next item, you know, SAP HE 2.0 that I have sent a documentation to the board as well, right? Now, this was signed into a law by Governor Haley that, you know, that there are certain requirements from the state, you know, with Board of Health regarding trainings, you know, submitting documentation of what we are doing every year, right? In August, they ask us to do documentation, you know, to that, what kind of inspections we're doing and all that good stuff. And then there are going to be requirements, right, like for our inspectors or myself, you know, anybody that, you know, but that we do have certain credentials, you know, to do our work, you know. So that's related to that I'm doing these trainings, you know. And
Can I ask you a question about that? So,
Please.
I read through that after you sent the email out, just to get a little bit more familiar, and I know that there was some reporting requirements for the Board of Health, which have not started yet, right?
Correct.
And yeah, so can you break down what would be the role of the board versus the health department? And, or is it even worth talking about now? Because, oh, I'm sorry. Actually, it's not even. Sorry about that.
And good question, Dr. J. So we've been working with the state, you know, during this process, right? We did submit some standards, right? Currently, right, that we have this grants under the shared services, right? There are some requirements when we do those grants, or, you know, even periodically they ask us where we are with the inspections and all that to check, right, where the region is in general, right? So we've been submitting some sort of documentation, like, you know, with our inspections, or there have been times, I guess a couple of times, the state have asked us specific inspections, you know, right? I mean, they just pick and choose. Like last time, if I remember correctly, there was a couple of restaurants that they have picked up, you know, to asking us their inspection reports, you know, to see what we are doing, you know. But moving with this, as this is signed into law now, right, then will be required, you know, right, that we do have to submit that. Now, I guess the role is the same, right? It's the same thing with Health Department or Board of Health, right? Like, you know, it's generally.
So that will be something that whatever is being submitted by the health department will come through the board to.
That is correct, right?
Sign off on, or?
I don't know if there will be sign-off requirement, but like as I'm the agent for the board, right, that I submitted.
Yeah.
Basically submitted it on behalf of the board, right? So like almost any work I do, right, that's how it's treated as, right?
Yeah.
That's why I'm the agent to the board, right?
Yeah.
If I'll be submitting the data or any performance measure, you know, that'll be submitted from Board of Health.
Right, yeah, because it looked like there were like certain requirements for employees, so of the health department versus the board. And so, but it sounds like you're on it, and if there's anything that we need to do, you will let us know. So.
Absolutely, sir, yes. I mean, and then there'll be, even for the board members, you know, there will be some trainings and all that stuff, you know, that'll be available through this, you know.
Okay.
And the state been doing a lot of work, you know, I talked about the software metrics, right, that will be possibly getting, that's all through this, you know.
Yeah.
All that good stuff that we are getting it from the state, you know. I guess we have close to $700,000 per year grant right now, you know. through with 9 communities, the Hudson being our lead community and Ashland is part of it.
Yeah.
So this is where we're getting all these grants in the resources that we are using on day-to-day basis.
Right, right. Okay.
But, and I'm happy to answer any more questions if it comes along, but this is new, they're just, rolling it out, and we will have more information, coming. So the next one, again, OpenGov permitting inspectional software. So permitting is going well. Laura is doing a lot of work, all our applications are online now, right? So the permitting part is doing well. But the inspectional software from OpenGov didn't work for us, so we did spend good amount of time, helping the team, to develop that software, right? But it's just tough, given how complex the code is, and all the citations, it's just navigating that was even tough for the OpenGov team. So we, with the administrative team, right, and Doug Scott, who's leading the OpenGov thing right now after Mr. Peter Machak left Ashland, right? So we have decided we're not gonna be moving forward with our permitting software from OpenGov. Instead, we'll be using what currently we have from Relevant, right? We're gonna use it till it's available. That we are using Relevant software right now is under a grant to us, again, we have 3 licenses from Relevant that cost around $1,800 a license per year. So like that's a cost of $5,400 per year, but we are getting that paid through a grant, right? But hopefully we get that matrix software from the state, right? That'll be free of cost to the town, and it includes.
Which is separate from open.gov.
That is correct.
Okay, so you're thinking if that works, then you don't even have to worry about using open.gov software?
Correct. OpenGov, right, the inspectional part of it, we won't be using currently, right, given the challenges we
Right,
had,
right.
so.
And that's not required? You can use whatever works for you?
That is correct.
Okay,
So
good.
matrix, when the state is gonna provide, right, so this is again, my understanding right now, state is saying that you can use it or not use it, right? But eventually, I guess it might be a requirement, given this is whole thing they're trying to do under SAP HE 2.0, that they wanna see where everybody is.
Yep.
The goal is to kind of uniform the health functioning, right? Right now, I mean, I have seen, this is my 3rd municipality, right? That every municipality health department do things a little different. And that's what they want to uniform, that, hey, across the board, it's the same, So I guess that's the goal where they're coming from. And then it might that they say, that, hey, you have to use it so they have access to the data that we are entering.
Right.
So I guess this is where we're going.
Yep.
Other than that, we hosted the Stop the Bleed training here at Town Hall. Our public health nurse Ann did it, right? We had 16 individuals whom we certified as a trained person for Stop the Bleed. We did have a flu clinic besides our regular, Wednesday, Thursday clinics for uninsured, underinsured on December 3rd. Very low attendance. We have just 1 individual that came for that. So, I mean, definitely this year, a lot of hesitancy, with the vaccines. We did see a lot of cases, influenza cases this year, Yesterday I had 7 influenza cases, and today I have 2. That's for Ashland, So we are seeing increased number of influenza cases, and that might be because of decreased number of, vaccinations. I don't know, Mr. Morris, if you guys are seeing the same. I don't know, the vaccination part, but our numbers are definitely on the lower side,
Yeah,
this year.
so we were definitely seeing more COVID vaccines this year. I've since moved companies, so I'd
Sure.
see like the full numbers for the year, obviously. Flu vaccine was pretty consistent with last year,
Sure.
which is probably down from the year before that, but we were still kind of getting over the pandemic, and people were still really antsy to get vaccinated
Right.
for COVID. So so more COVID this year, but still not like where we'd like to see it.
Got it. I mean, we definitely, besides our clinics, right, we did 7 vaccine clinics, like 6 or 7, right, with the Pine Hill Pharmacy that we do clinics with, right? We have seen decreased number of, individuals coming for the vaccines, so. But yeah, and any shots are good, right? So we'll try some more clinics, Again, we still do Wednesday, Thursdays as our routine clinics. And we was just putting some numbers together. I guess we are at 4,700 plus shots, from the time we started this clinic, 4 years back, 3.5, 4 years back. So yes, so like we're heavy on the vaccines. So with the housing cases, there's one ongoing case at the Chestnut Place Apartments, Building 8, that we did get some compliance. I did had a citation of $200 at the dumpster on November 25th that they have paid. With the serious apartment from last time, the dumpster issue, it kind of looks like it's resolved now, right? So they did move the dumpster to an impervious surface as required by the board. Instead of keeping the full big dumpster, right, they have gone back to 2 small dumpsters because they was not able to keep the lid closed, for the bigger dumpster. So I've been out maybe 3 or 4 times from the last time, right? So did see the bigger dumpster open 2 times I went, and then I did had a conversation with the management, right? To resolve it, I guess they went to the smaller dumpsters, so the lids are easier to be closed. The bigger dumpster, I guess, it's not, anybody cannot close the lid because it's huge, and I guess, it's at a height. So looks like that kind of resolved, but I'll keep an eye, 55 Park Road, Unit D, this was referred to us by the fire department with some unsanitary conditions, right? That they took care of it. We had a report, that was done. 49 Cherry Street, this is another case that was pending, and they was in front of board, I guess 2 meetings back, was in court. I did have an email confirmation from Mr. Robert Jordan today that they finally have secured the place. They have the possession of the place now, and they'll be starting the correction soon.
So that's the one where the tenant was leaving?
That is correct,
The tenant's
sir.
out now?
Yep, so what we was told that tenant was under eviction order, and in between, they have filed some motions, so that's why it took some time, so I guess now I did reach out to him today, this afternoon, that to asking for the status, that he had mentioned that they have the possession of the place now.
Yeah.
24 Concord Street, number 10, this was a no heat, no carbon monoxide detectors that was resolved within 24 hours of the required time, so. With the disease investigation, we still have 3 active TB cases that our nurse and myself were working on, And I'm open to any questions by the board.
I do just have one question about the serious apartment dumpsters. We talked about a cement pad being put in to be underneath. Do the smaller dumpsters require the cement pad?
That is correct, Mr. Morris. So what they did, earlier this dumpster was on ground, right? So the requirement by the code, the housing code, is that the dumpster need to be on an impervious surface, right? So what they did, not on that particular site, right? But they moved the dumpster where there was like concrete, or like impervious surface, So they moved it, They did tell me, or there were a couple of emails, right, that given the weather, they was not able to put the concrete pad as they was advised, that they won't get, right, any guarantee of, given the weather, that it will survive, So, but to still comply with the board's order, they moved the dumpster. So, but yes, it was compliant.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, next agenda item is the consent agenda, and I read through the minutes from November 18th, and I do have a couple of corrections, so I'm wondering, let me just pull these up. Sorry. I'm wondering if we should can we approve them with corrections? Is that, okay, let me just let you know where those are, Laura. This one. Oh, wait, that's this, November 18th, yeah. So, okay. So on page 3, I don't know, do you have it up? On page 3 of 4, when we're talking about kratom and 7-hydroxy, in the second paragraph on page 3, there, in the third sentence, it says, there is hydroxymetragenine. It should just say metragenine. And that's a big difference. And then also, but I could see why you would stick that in there like that, but yeah, it's metragenine without the hydroxy. And then in that same paragraph at the end, there was a discussion about 7-hydroxymetragenine being banned in Massachusetts. And yes, it was discussed, perhaps it was banned. It turned out that it is not banned in Massachusetts. But I think what should be added in there that it was discussed whether or not that was actually true, because there was a question about that. It's stated in here as if it's factual, but in fact, we weren't sure whether or not it was true. So however you wanted to word that, that's. And then, one more thing, Laura. So at the third paragraph on that page, in the last sentence, it says, I think it was Parry that said, he continued to check the stores to ensure that there is no selling of 7-hydroxymetragenine. It should be the concentrated 7-hydroxymetragenine, because the 7-hydroxy is actually allowed. It's just the concentrated stuff is the stuff that everybody's concerned about. So, so that's it. Does that make sense?
Understood, yes.
Anybody else have anything to?
No, the hydroxymetragenine
Okay. All right, so therefore, does anyone want to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written, which would include the 2026 year-to-date budget reports and the meeting minutes from the November 18th, 2025 meeting?
with the stated.
I'm sorry, with the stated corrections.
I will make such a motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? Nope, all in favor? Aye. That's 3.
Can I just send it to you for a final?
Yeah, definitely, yep. Okay, next, discuss future agenda items. I know one of the things that I'd like to have as a separate item is just for us to talk about how we want to do this meeting in terms of, you know, do we want to continue to make sure we're meeting here in person? Will it be, you know, not on Zoom? I kind of like this format that we have now, but, you know, that's just my opinion. But just to bring it up when Ed and Barbara are here, and so maybe we can get that on the agenda as a separate item, however you want to, you know, title that. Just discussion of the meeting format, I guess.
So I know the state extended the ability to conduct these meetings hybrid or remote. How long was that extension?
It's pretty far out.
Okay.
The exact,
Yep,
like a few years.
Yeah, years, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So,
Wait, so with the, well, I mean, we can talk about it then, but just out of curiosity, for the select board, they have theirs on Zoom because obviously there's a ton of participation, right?
Hybrid, yeah.
They do hybrid.
Hybrid, right, okay. Yeah, so if we can talk about it more formally,
Absolutely.
that would be good.
We'll put that as a agenda, you know.
Okay. Anything else? Would you guys want to add anything? Future items?
Approve Jay's animal permit.
Yeah, right, approve the,
CVS.
And CVS, that's right. And then I know that there was the tobacco regulation thing that we've been talking about. Going through again, is that, so that's because it, what, sunsets after so many years? Or is there a reason that we are going through it again?
So, Dr. J, there's a lot of stuff going on, right? Like, again, as with this, there is a lot and lot of new products, flavored products and different stuff. So what communities are doing, adding more definitions into it, right? Or all that stuff, right? So I guess Framingham recently did, a lot of other flavoring products are coming that they're kind of hiding the flavor and, some stuff, so like what we was looking at is, changing some definitions like or tweaking it, adding a little more clarity to where we stand on that. So, that was the update. And then when the whole thing with the nicotine-free generation started, then we want to make sure, when we change the regulation, we change it together, because even if for any reason, if, the board or the town go with that, then we have to change it again, so.
Right.
So that's why it's, that's why we took it off,
Okay.
just like till we settle that, and then we had our well regulation also that we need to look at, that we might want to revise that,
Okay.
Only other item I can think of right now with the functioning is like, but we might have a variance request for a food permit in front of the board maybe next time, so that we're currently reviewing from one of our establishments.
Okay. Anything else? Anyone?
So were we pushing the kratom discussion until we hear if the state is going to do anything?
That's what I think would be wise, to hold off. And, the last time I looked, I think it was the day after we talked about it, or that it was on Raj's agenda, and the state had a date that they were gonna take that up and did not. So I think it's gonna be pushed off to 2026. We can discuss it, if the board wants to talk about it. I just think that ultimately what we're gonna come down to is, what is the state gonna do? And, can they give us a directive? Because if, in my opinion, I think as long as those concentrated products are not being sold in Ashland, we don't have a lot to be concerned about, but we don't have anything in regulations that prevent that from being sold. So if that's something that, we thought made sense, then yeah, we'd have to talk about it.
I know we don't have anything being sold at the moment. It's just, do we want to wait until somebody is selling it before we move on it?
Well, I guess that's what we should talk about. Yeah, so maybe we put that back on the agenda. I mean, I know I did send out a review, kind of like a review article type of thing that has a lot of stuff in there, and then I can, tell you a little bit more about what I know, and it'd be interesting to see what Ed hears from the law enforcement side of things.
Sure.
So yeah, maybe put that on the agenda, and we'll just have like an open discussion about what's what.
Sure. And only thing I want to add from my side, Dr. J, we did find one of our vendors, right, was selling one of the products, right, where kratom was part of a kind of a, drink, right? That we have told them to take it out, because now it cannot be added to a food product, that within the food code is not allowed. So like that, we have told them to take it off from the shelves.
So was that the blue bottle?
That is correct.
Okay, so that's considered a food product?
That if it is a drinkable, sold at a retail establishment that way, then according to the food code, right, per food
okay.
code, you cannot do it.
All
So
right.
it can be like the food is nothing is allowed, till it's allowed by the state, but.
So a lot of people are selling that. A lot of whatever stores.
True, I
sell
mean,
it. Not here in
Right.
Ashland, but
I see that all the
Yeah.
time, myself, right? Like even with kratom, right? Like when we see it everywhere, kind of situation, like when I say everywhere, like, there's a lot of people selling it,
Yeah,
But the food we can definitely control, if
Yeah.
it is if it is in a food form. Now, if it is in form of tablets, or leaves, right, that's not what we regulate under the food code, right? But now if it is in any form of drink or, something like that, then we have the ability to stop it, and we did, so.
okay. So but that's not an official blocking of it, right? Or is it?
If it is in the food, right, like if it is sold as a drink, right, yes, then we have the ability to stop it, but the food code, not from any other angle, right, like,
Right, but if that chemical was removed from that product,
then they can sell it, so yes.
right, so if that is how we're gonna proceed, then, because that chemical itself is actually not, it's not the chemical that is of concern to people, not at that concentration. So I think we just need to talk about, is that something that we wanna do?
Sure.
And then you can enlighten us about the food code, and then, maybe it makes sense, or maybe, because I wouldn't want to do something that isn't consistent with what we may do down the line someday. So if we're okay with, a certain product in a pill form having the same amount of 7-hydroxymetragine as in that drink, but we only choose to ban the sale of that drink and not the pills or tea bags, then, I just think that we should hash out, continue to do whatever you're doing, but I think that we should hash out for now on an agenda item, what that actually means.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I agree with you, sir. They come up with different stuff, right? Like, I mean, but what we control again, like food is what we control, because that's what we give them the permit, right?
Right.
Again, gray area when they're selling it in different styles, right? And,
Right.
And then there are a lot of other products right now in the market that way, so.
Right, it's just that if we're not, are we worried about that chemical? If we're not worried about it, then just taking it, preventing somebody from selling that drink is like we're looking for reasons to stop them from doing that, and I'm just,
I don't know that the issue is that whether we are or we aren't worried about it, because I think everybody here is concerned about it. I think part of what Raj is addressing is what we have the power to say no to. There are
Right.
some things we don't currently have the power to say no to.
Sorry. What I was just saying is that I think part of the issue is not whether we're okay with it or not. I don't think that that's necessarily what the board is only addressing. It's also what we have the power to, if we're not okay with it, then we still may not have the power to do anything about it.
correct. So
Unless it's in a food form, in which case we do have that power.
right, so I think the discussion has to be, what are we okay with, and where's the line? When are we not okay with it? So, and then once we establish that, then we can determine whether or not that makes sense.
Right.
So,
Again, like,
yeah, I agree.
from my perspective, it's kind of our liability, right, to, if it is in a food form, that we need to address it, like for any other matter too, right, like, I mean, any other, even cannabis in the food, right, like, I mean, that has started too, that, we have seen in the field, right?
Right.
People selling it that way, or any other product, like, but if they're adding it to the food, like, a lot of these gummies now coming, laced with these products, right, that we have the control over, right, per food code, that we can do it.
Right.
There are certain items, again, is sitting in that gray area, like leaves, that are not food, or not tobacco, or, stuff like that, so. But, I mean, yes, we should definitely have a discussion, but.
Yeah.
It sounds like it would be a worthwhile discussion to have both for the members of the board, but also even perhaps for the community to know, not just, that this is an area of concern, but also what the limits of our power are.
Right.
And why, for example, they might go in and see certain things on the shelf, but not other things.
Right.
There are reasons, and I'll admit that I'm not completely clear on all the reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, so, okay, then obviously this makes sense to talk about, so we can do that. Is there anything else that anybody can think of that you'd like to see on the agenda?
Those are probably the big things, yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, if that is it, we'll just move on to the last item, which is next meeting date. So it looks like we've got it scheduled for January 6th and January 20th. Are we going to do the January 6th one same way?
Sure.
Would that be the plan? Okay, and then maybe on that agenda, we can talk about going forward, how to, the format that we want to use, that we want to try to use. Okay, and last item, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, is there a second? Second. All right, all in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you.